Hello everyone, I'm very excited to be able to do this video. It's an idea that I've had for a long time and I've been meaning to do, and it has to do with Elvis Presley. This is the perfect year to do it and the perfect day to start, which is January the 8th, because it's on this day that Elvis was born. And this year of 2020, if Elvis was still with us, he would be 85 years old today. Can't believe it. The king of rock and roll at 85. But I wanted to do a little thing where I was going to be reviewing every single one of his movies that he made. And when I say movies, I'm not talking about live concert movies. So you're not going to see anything with That's the Way It Is or Elvis on Tour or documentaries like This Is Elvis or anything like that. I'm talking about the 30 or 30 some odd feature films that he made in the 50s and the 60s. And I don't know what order I'm going to go in. Maybe I'll go in chronological order. Maybe I'll mix them up a bit just to have some fun with it. But I figured I'd start today for the first video with the first movie that he made. And just thinking about how long this is going to take, I'd like to finish it by the end of 2020. So I figure if I do 2 to 3 videos a month, something like that, I'll be able to do it in the year. So we're beginning with the 1956 film, Elvis's screen debut, Love Me Tender. And this is the DVD copy that I have, 20th Century Fox version. I got to tell you also, before I go on, something I forgot to mention at the beginning. I've seen every one of these movies already. So it's not, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, they're not going to be surprises for me, not going to be, first-time views. I've seen them all. But I don't know all of them by heart. Some of them I know better than others. And this is one I've only seen a couple of times, I believe. And I remember my feeling is that I enjoyed it. And what's also going to help me along is, since I had already seen these, I've been keeping notes. I have a database where I keep notes. So I have it all here. So I can just read what I wrote years ago on this. And I'm going to be referring to these notes off and on. Well, anyway, the first thing I could say is it's a good deal better than it's usually given credit for. I don't think people give this enough credit. I think that Elvis, considering it's his acting debut and he really always wanted to act, admiring James Dean, Tony Curtis, and Marlon Brando, I think he turns in a pretty surprisingly good performance. I think he's actually pretty amazing, and he's quite good in here considering it's his first role. The story is about Richard Egan, who plays Vance Reno. This was originally going to be called the Reno Brothers, and he's serving in the Civil War and returns home after the war ends to join his family and reunite with his lover, who's played by Debra Paget. But there was a tragedy that kind of ensues when it's learned that while he was away, his young brother Clint Reno, who's played by Elvis, had fallen in love with the girl and married her. So he married his big brother's sweetheart. And that's not really too good. So there's also a problem here because Vance has kept some Union cash, which he never delivered to its destination while he, when he found out the war had ended in the interim. So there's a little bit of a snag with that too in there. And that's really probably the main thrust of the movie. But it was a good, solid story with fine performances, and especially by Richard Egan. I thought he was the best, but it's still a pretty impressive debut screen performance for Elvis, I think. And it's too bad that as time went on, he really got saddled with a lot more movies he didn't want to do, and they got increasingly silly, even though I have some fun with them, taken for what they are rather than what they could have been, which you'll see as we go along. Elvis really didn't want to sing in this first movie, but nevertheless, they had to put a few songs in there. And I think that the title song, Love Me Tender, of course, is a classic. It's a beautiful ballad. Elvis sounds wonderful, sounds smooth as silk. It's a beautiful, gorgeous performance by Elvis, one of the best things he ever recorded. Nobody really can quibble with Love Me Tender, I don't think, unless you just don't like that kind of sappy love song. But I think it's a beautiful song. Not much you could say about it, but there's a couple of other songs, only 2 other ones. One of them is a sing-along ditty type of song called We're Gonna Move, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a get up on your feet and hop around and dance on the porch with your family kind of song. And it's funny, you know, it's kind of performed 1950s style here, even though the film is set in 1865. It's just kind of fun when you think of it. And there's there's actually a couple of more songs. I forgot about Let Me. There's a couple of a remarkable song called Let Me that I had forgotten about, and Poor Boy. Poor Boy's not really that good either, I don't think. Poor Boy is okay. Let Me is unremarkable. Well, anyway, I'm going to score these movies as I go along on a 4-star basis. That's what I go by, 4 stars for movies. And or I could say hound dogs if you like. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 4, I'm going to give 3 hound dogs, and that's not bad. See you next time, folks. Don't know what movie it's going to be yet.